But in the last 4 to 5 years, it's grown in popularity exponentially. Let's talk about the Great Resignation and why it's really about the FIRE movement and how it's about to get worse in 2022. Now, unless you've been living on a rock, you have probably heard about this.
The Great Resignation.
The Great Resignation.
Everyone I know was changing jobs or stepping off the career ladder.
It was a lot of reflection time. People's mental health are so bad right now. The work wasn't great.
It seems like everybody and their mother, sister, brother, everybody's basically quitting. There's a lot of good suggested reasons for why it's happening, including
overworked,
burnout.
Your staffing is at an all-time low.
Don't want to do this anymore.
They just didn't care about me. I'm done.
People are less than thrilled about returning to the office.
But wait, there's more. Realizing life is too short to work at a job you hate. Working for a corporation is not the only choice out there. Multi-decade wage stagnation. Just look at this graph. Workers are producing so much wealth for companies, and yet the workers' wages is not even growing with inflation. Many are realizing that employers, no matter how much they say otherwise, truly don't care about the employee. To remind ourselves how serious the Great Resignation is, let's take a look at these numbers.
The rate at which workers ages 30 to 45 resign rose by over 20%.
In the month of May alone, 3.6 million Americans quit their jobs, and that's down from the month before.
7.7 million people who remain unemployed aren't jumping at the roughly 10.4 million job openings, leaving business after business with help wanted placards in their windows.
These numbers are serious. There's a lot of jobs available at all sectors and levels. And people are simply saying no thank you. Now, to really appreciate the magnitude of all this, we have to talk about FIRE.
FIRE is an acronym for Financial Independence and Retiring Early.
It is all about promoting financial literacy and discipline in order to reach a very specific goal.
The idea is that by following a very aggressive saving and investing strategy, people can get to a point where they're retired at a very young age, sometimes younger than 30s.
The FIRE movement is what's missing in this entire conversation. Essentially, people have been doing some self-reflection for quite some time, and they're realizing that they very much don't like their jobs. And so to escape those jobs, they need a way out, and that way out happens to be FIRE. So they made the conscious decision to increase their savings, slash their expenses, and look to retire in 5 to 10 years, instead of the traditional 30 to 40 years. So I decided to see if there's been an uptick in the popularity of FIRE in the last 5 to 7 years. And what I found did not shock me one bit. Let's take a look at this graph and I'll show you what I mean. So if we go to trends.google and then we type in FIRE movement, and then if we take a look at worldwide, and for the last 2004 to present, I like to select this one right here, FIRE movement topic. I select that one. So as you can see, the FIRE movement has been around for quite some time, but in the last 4 to 5 years, it's grown in popularity exponentially. This curve here is why the Great Resignation is happening. And this is exactly why in 2022, it's gonna get even worse. Looking at this graph, we can tell that a lot of people started their FIRE journey around 2016, 2017, and depending on their income level, some people can reach FIRE in 5 to 7 years, and others in 10 years. And for those that can reach their FIRE number in 5 years to 7 years, that would be right around 2020, 2021, and even others 2022. And so as that's happening, as a lot of people are reaching their FIRE number in 2022 or 2021, is why the Great Resignation is happening right now. And what's worse to that is, as more of these people are more interested in FIRE and are starting their journey here, there's going to be more people in the next 4 or 5 years from this point who are also going to enter into early retirement, which is just going to be a chain reaction of events that's going to make the situation worse and worse. So it's like a domino effect. The FIRE movement is fueling, no pun intended, the Great Resignation. What surprised me the most is that the connection between the Great Resignation and the FIRE movement is not being talked about more in the media. but we're changing that with this video. I also think that in the next 10 years, automation and business interests is going to put a lot of us on the wrong side of the financial equation. And I think a lot of workers realize this, and that's why many of us are flocking to the FIRE movement. A high number of people are waking up from their complacency and taking control of their finances and their lives. They're getting out of debt, they're saving more, and they're investing more. And the most exciting piece of all this is that employers are finally starting to realize that they cannot continue to treat workers as they have in the past, and they cannot continue to pay low wages forever. There are so many more facets to the story, like what happens if the majority of the workforce reach early retirement? How will the Great Resignation and FIRE movement impact politics going forward? Will employers' behavior change be permanent, or is it just temporary? How bad will 2020 be for the labor shortage? And my favorite, will the Great Resignation continue after COVID? For now, what are your thoughts on the Great Resignation and the FIRE movement? Let me know in the comments below. Most of all, if this video has lit a fire in or on you, please hit the like button and check out my other videos. I'm Solid's Code.